That was great, wasn't it? Come on, let's give it up for him. Let's give it up for Brandon. That was really great. Thank you so much for bringing me out. My name is Vanessa Stokes. I'm a West Side resident. I live about 5 minutes away from here. So it's really great to be in the community and to share with you all the work that is happening on the West Side. So I am an artist. I'm a writer and a photographer. I've been managing my father's archive. My father was also a photographer. He had the first Black-owned photography studio in Chicago, and I've been managing his work for the last 30 years. And I've been doing like public art in the community. I've been doing just organized around art and culture for many years. So that brought me to doing work along our corridors. So I used to work with West Side Health Authority doing work on Chicago Avenue. I created Popcourts. I don't know if you all are familiar, but it's an outdoor plaza space on Chicago and Lockwood. So you can start from the beginning. That's really small. I don't know if that's gonna work for me. I could barely see it myself, but you could just leave it, and I'll just use it from my brain so I can share with you all. Oh, there we go, that's good. Okay, so while doing this work in community, I really started to see that this assembly process that we're doing today, we're also associated with the People's Movement Assembly. So when Brooke spoke earlier, we've been working with them also to do similar type of work on the West Side. So you could go to the next one, Maurice. We could go to the next one. We already did that already. You can go to the next slide. I'm gonna flip through these slides because I know this has been it's been a very it's been a very grounding day, and I think there's been a lot of information that we've been just dealing with today. So I just want to share with you some of the work that I've been doing over the years. So can you go back a slide? Okay, that one right there. So this outdoor plaza space right here, if you all can see it, it's on the corner of Chicago and Lockwood. It's called Popcourts. And because of that space, I helped to create it with community. I'm opening a gallery and cafe next door. It's called Out West Gallery and Cafe. And then Jim is my partner. Unfortunately, he couldn't come today. And he's also creating with his group, The K, which is on Madison and Kilbourne. It's a business incubator space. So the work that we were doing along the corridors, being developers, we just saw an opportunity to build with community when we have all of these opportunities for community to build with. You can go to the next one. Oh. So just with the work, I've also been working with the Park District. Parkland is so important, green space is so important in how we heal and grow, right? So I said, well, wouldn't it be nice if we could start working with our parks to build what is possible also? So what came out of that is West Side Assembly. So the assembly system that we're creating on the West Side is to really co-govern with community around the built environment, right? So the work that is happening with our parks are subpar. They need a lot of work, right? How do we steward those spaces? It's very important for us to take our assets and to build with them, right? So that's okay. So I think it's important to connect what we're doing to what we're doing today, right? So the fifth pillar of reparations is a guarantee of non-repetition, right? So that pillar is kind of the work that we're doing. So that's the through line with our work in reparations, is to find spaces to build with community, so when reparations do come, because they will, right? And that's what we're standing in, is that reparations They will come. So when they come, we have space to build with community, right? So because our parks are such an important part of that, because our corridors are so important to that, we don't have infrastructure in our corridors, right? We need the infrastructure to make it walkable, make it safe, right? So people can walk out of their house and walk down the street so they could be in a third place, in a cafe, in a restaurant to sit down. All of those things are part of the community that are really important as we're building through this space, this conversation that we're having today. So that was the guarantees of non-repetition. So assemble, essentially, thank you. Yeah, we're right here. So with Out West Gallery and Cafe, it just made sense. I was like, we need an ecosystem. I can't just build a building and expect people to show up, right? If you see, we have a Black-owned grocery store on the west side called 40 Acres Fresh Market. Are you all familiar with that space, right? So we have a Black-owned grocery store, and I don't know how her business is doing, but every time I go in there, there's not a whole lot of people in there, right? It's on Chicago. It's a 5700 block on Chicago. It's like a block west of Central. I think that's Mayfield. I can't remember what street it is, but she's not. The business isn't as good as it should be, right? And that's because people just. It's hard to change our shopping habits, right? And so it's a mindset shift that we have to do as we're building a community, right? So I love all the imagining that we're doing today, because I think that's the real important part of how we create these systems is to imagine what that could look like. So we have community development as an ecosystem in the middle, but then we have to build with community in order for those people to actually show up. We want people to show up in these spaces. So we have public space, cultural organizing, economic development, stewardship, relationship infrastructure, and civic participation. Those are the ways of how we're going to build infrastructure for our corridors, for the built environment. You could go to the next one. Thank you. So this is what I was saying about the pillars, the 5 pillars of reparations framework. So we're focusing in on the 5th pillar, which is the guarantees of non-repetition. Our focus, we are building the structures that ensure our communities are never again systematically harmed, excluded, or disinvested, right? So the work that we're doing with Assemble is around this work. You could go to the next one. So what communities need to sustain each other? So we're always responding to crisis all the time. Wouldn't you say that? Would you say that we're always responding to a problem? Something happened. We got to move over here. We got to build a group because something happened. Oh no, something happened. We got to build another group, right? But those groups end up falling apart and they don't work, right? Or they just end. So what we need to really sustain ourselves are structures for stewardship, leadership development. That's a huge thing. And we have a whole system that we're looking at when it comes to leadership development. Our elected officials, right? Do our elected officials work for us? What do you all think? Are there any elected officials in the room? Are there? They're not here, are they? Right, that's the problem. You know what I mean? That's what I see is like, how are we supposed to build? We need to create our own spaces for our communities, which includes building spaces for leadership and development of our elected officials. So I have a question for you all. What structures help communities sustain participation beyond moments of mobilization? Anybody? What structures do we need? Yes. Faith-based communities to start? Anyone else? What structures do we need? Yes. Social clubs. Perfect. Yes, ma'am. Facilities that can provide food and shelter. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Say that one more time. After school programs for our young people. Yes, sir, in the back. Community and family structures. Yes, sir, in the back. Say that one more time. Unions. Yes. Yes, all of these are structures and important for us to recreate community. Maurice. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So I'm bringing this to you because this is the work that as we're rethinking and as we're looking at reparations, right? These structures are important for us to build now. Now, we got to build them now, right? So when reparations comes, we can move. It'll be a lateral move. You can go to the next one. So parks are so important for our families, right? Not just young people, older folks, young folks, everybody uses the parks, right? So the parks are a way to create the cultural infrastructure that we need to continue to build out what these spaces can look like when reparations does come. So what spaces in your neighborhood still bring people together across generations? Social clubs, I bet, right? Anyone else? Say it again. The lakefront. The lakefront. How many of you all actually go to the lakefront? Okay, great. So we do have, so people see the assets of the lakefront, right? Beautiful. You can go to the next one. So one of the other spaces I think is huge, right? Is like the built environment. Are you all familiar with environmental justice? Yes? Okay, so environmental justice is a new term for stuff that we've already been doing, right? But there is ways for us to align with environmental justice. So environmental justice is connected to our land, development, public space, how we govern, participation, how we work together, stewardship, long-term decision-making power. This is environmental justice. But I think the question usually is are these two questions at the bottom? Who usually gets to decide what gets built? Are we in the decision making of what gets built most of the time? No, right? Who often gets excluded from those decisions? We do, right? So as we're looking at our built environment, these are some of the things that I think we need to look at and how we are connecting one another. So what is Assemble? So Assemble is the West Side Assembly system. So it's a civic and cultural infrastructure framework that we're creating. So essentially when I was building this gallery cafe on Chicago Avenue, I'm like, are people gonna show up? Are we gonna have people that are actually gonna be here, right? Or are they just, and as I'm looking at the landscape, there's not a whole lot of new businesses. We don't have a whole lot of anchors. How are we gonna build business in our community? And then I was looking at our parks and are we using them sufficiently, right? So I said, well, what if we meet at the park and we talk about cultural infrastructure? We talk about our parks, we talk about our assets, and we talk about our corridors, right? And how to connect people to resources and how to get the right policies for those spaces. So Assemble is a participatory assembly structure. So we're using the same kind of structure as this assembly today. It's a stewardship framework, a relational organizing system, and a community governance practice. So how we function, we have our quarterly assemblies. We got one coming up next week at La Follette Park. And then we have our circles in which we use technology and use ways to connect and how we further the conversation. We also are looking at emerging initiatives, how the residents can lead different projects. But something that is dear to my heart is leadership development, because I don't want to be doing this forever. I want to be able to hand it off to somebody else, right? Be able to train people and get them ready for leadership development. You go to the next one. Thank you. So our 4 core areas are place, memory, and healing, art, culture, and story, community, wealth building, and shared economy, and care, capacity, and leadership. So we found that these 4 areas are the most important areas in the community and how we could build from them. You can go to the next one. And I'm going through these quickly because I know this has been a long day, and I don't want to put more on y'all to think about, but I just want you to imagine. I think that's the one thing that I got from today is how to imagine what it's like for us to be in community where we don't have to live from a traumatic space, right? You could go to the next slide. I'm sorry, go ahead. You can go to the next one. So the larger vision. So the larger vision is this is a replicable community framework. Anybody could do this in their community, right? You can create space in your community where you could connect with folks and build consistently and have continuity in that. That's the one thing that I love about the assembly system is it's not a plan. It's not like a quality of life plan where you create something and then it just ends, right? It's a continuous meeting of the minds of community. So the building continuity together is the call to action, right? So build your own local assemblies, create stewardship pathways, develop shared leadership, strengthening public participation, reimagine what governance collectively looks like. So this is a closing reflection. You don't have to answer this if you want. If you want to, that's fine. But if you don't, and I just want you all to think about this as you go through your day. What becomes possible when communities possess structures capable of sustaining care, stewardship, participation, and collective leadership across generations? So when you're going through your day, think about that. What is possible? What becomes possible when we have these structures available to us? Okay? And here's me. This is what I do, okay? So this is my consulting company, and I wanted to share that with y'all. So if y'all have any questions, I'm open to having conversations with anybody about what is possible in their own communities, right? You can't really see it on the slide, but if you come up to me, I'll just give you my card and we can talk. But I think the important thing here is that this is a replicable structure. What EAT is doing here today, what Movement for Black Lives is doing is something that we could do in our own communities. And I just wanted to show you a way that is possible. We're doing it right here on the west side at our parks. And the last slide, I think this is the last one. So until we gather again, we are the ones we have been waiting for. It's us, y'all. Go well. Stay connected, keep building. And if you like to come to our assembly so you can see how it's done, we're having it next weekend at La Follette Park. There's a QR code right there. Y'all can scan it, and please join us. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Vanessa. Let's give it up for Vanessa one more time, y'all. Appreciate you. We're gonna wrap. So we're gonna wrap, y'all. It's been a day. We appreciate y'all coming out, being in the community with us, eating with us.